All right, so I decided not to put any filler in here because I put 2 coats of clear on it, and the the seam seems to be disappearing. I am gonna build this up. That's just a bird's eye. I got 2 dark spots. One that doesn't mirror on this side, and one that does. But the bridge is going to be right here anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. That seam between this piece of veneer and this piece of veneer seems like it's going to go away. When I look at it right here, I can barely see it where I wet sand it. And remember, this is only 2 coats of clear. I'll sand it down. I'll wet sand it down to 600 grit, and then I'll do my burst with it sanded. The burst is going to be a little bit darker brown than. See the reds popping out of it? So it's going to be a little like probably like this brown in here in that light. When I tilt it, the brown kind of goes away, but something like this kind of rustic brown right here. It'll be a small burst. It's not going to be a real wide burst like, a 2-inch burst. It'll be maybe a 1-inch burst, and it'll go from like a mist or like a semi-transparent to a solid. And the solid will be maybe a 1/2 inch all the way around. The edge of the guitar will be a solid, because remember, it is a sandwich body construction, and you can see the different grains of wood. So I want to cover that up. And then I'll probably burst the back as well, just for continuity, even though the back of the guitar looks pretty good. The flames really popped out on the neck there. Pretty happy with that. But the back looks pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. But it's a little plain, so it does need something. He definitely could have done a better job of sanding that heel cap. But I do think that those scratches will disappear after I wet sand and build up that lacquer. In fact, I may even do some of the burst around the neck here. Maybe just up. I don't know. I don't want to lose that heel detail. We'll see how it goes. I think I am going to use an air gun to do that burst. So we'll see how it comes out. So far, so good. Pretty happy with it. Everything looks like it's coming together pretty well. I am going to put. I got my piezo bridge that came in the mail. I am going to put my output jack is going to be my strap pin, because I don't want another hole in the guitar over here. So, the less holes in it, the cleaner I think it's going to look. I did sand away the stain that I had gotten up on the neck here on the fretboard. I just sanded it like to 220, but you can see it dulls down the epoxy resin that I put in there. So I'll sand that back up to probably 600 all the way down the fretboard. Then I'll go back and I'll level. These are the medium small frets. They're very low profile. I don't know if I could show you. So they're even lower than, well, that doesn't show you anything. I forget the dimensions on them, but I checked them for level. They're really, really good. There's a couple of high ones. Mostly, for some reason, they seem a little high on the bottom edge of the guitar, but no big deal. It's not terrible. If you look at it here, the frets are all seated very nicely. And I just used a brass hammer to tap those into place, and I did glue them. I always use wood glue when I'm fretting. Super glue makes a mess out of the neck. So I use the wood glue, and I don't water it down because I don't want to introduce more moisture to the fretboard than I absolutely have to. So they are glued in, but it is glued in. They're glued in with the tight bond. Leveling shouldn't take much at all. I'll show you that process as I do it. But the next step is going to be the burst, and that should give it almost its finished look. And then I'll start building up the clear and see if I can make these seams disappear. So they're catching the light. So from some angles you can't see it at all, and then when I tilt, like, they disappear completely, or they kind of jump out. But remember, this is only 2 coats of clear on this so far. So burst, more lacquer, finish the sides, burst the back, and then build up probably got 4 more coats of lacquer on there. Loving the color shift in this. Pretty cool. I like it. The camera makes it look kind of uneven, but it's really not. It's because I got some of it wet sanded, some of it not wet sanded. Before I sanded it, the colors really shift between the reds and the browns. You get to see that after I build up the clear, and you won't see that color differentiation anymore. So back after the burst.